Welcome to this explainer. Let's just jump right in, shall we? Today we're breaking down the actual science of walking to find out exactly how much we really need to move to stay healthy. We all know physical activity is good for us, right? But honestly, the specific targets they throw at us can feel, well, super confusing, kind of overwhelming, or just flat out of reach. So we're going to look closely at the hard data and separate the scientific facts from the marketing fiction.
Okay, so look at this number, 10,000. For years, literally years, we've been told that we absolutely need to hit exactly 10,000 steps every single day to be healthy. It's the default goal programmed right out of the box into pretty much every smartwatch, fitness tracker, and smartphone on the planet. It feels like this absolute, undeniable medical standard, right? Like we're all out here just exhausting ourselves, striving for this magic number, mostly just to keep our wrists from buzzing at us and, to hopefully live a long, healthy life.
But here's the reality check. The average American is only getting about 4,774 steps a day. And by clinical standards, doctors actually consider taking fewer than 5,000 steps a day to be a sedentary lifestyle. So what does that mean? It means a massive portion of the population is falling way short of that famous 10,000-step goal. And honestly, that leads to a lot of intense frustration, and it causes so many people to just throw their hands up and give up altogether.
So, that brings us to the million-dollar question. Is 10,000 really the magic number? Let's dive into this. We're going to look at the brand new data to see if falling short of that massive goal means we're all just doomed. Like, is 10,000 steps actually rooted in biology, or is it just a nice, round, catchy number that caught on? Well, we are about to find out what the human body actually requires to see real, life-extending benefits.
Which brings us to part 1, the 10,000-step myth and unpacking the data. To put things into perspective here, let's look at what that 10,000-step target actually looks like in the real world. We're looking through the lens of a massive new meta-analysis from Oxford University. These researchers pulled together dozens of cohort studies. They looked at over 125,000 adults to see how their daily step counts correlated with their overall health, cardiovascular disease, and mortality. And the reality? 10,000 steps is equivalent to walking about 5 miles, or, 8 kilometers. If you work a desk job, or you have a long commute, or you're managing a busy household, walking 5 miles every single day is a seriously intimidating distance. For a lot of us, it's literally just not practical without carving out a huge specific chunk of time purely for walking.
All right, moving into part 2, the magic of small increases, or the dose-response journey.
Okay, take a look at this. This illustrates an incredible, highly encouraging concept known as the curvilinear dose-response curve. Now, I know, that sounds like a ridiculously complicated scientific term, but I promise you, it is actually the best news you're going to hear today. It essentially means that the health benefits of walking, they don't just magically happen all at once at the very end of your goal, they happen on a curve. And the steepest, most dramatic benefits happen right at the beginning. This is the biggest secret in the data. Going from a total couch potato baseline of 2,000 steps to just 3,000 steps drops your cardiovascular mortality risk by a massive 26%. Just think about that for a second. An extra 1,000 steps is barely a 10-minute walk around the block, but that tiny incremental addition to your day slashes your risk of cardiovascular death by over a quarter. It's wild.
Now, what's truly fascinating is what happens next. If you hit 7,000 steps, your overall mortality risk drops by an incredible 47% compared to someone just walking 2,000 steps. You are nearly cutting your risk of premature death in half, literally almost in half just by reaching 7,000 steps. Plus, as a huge bonus, you're also significantly lowering your risk for things like cognitive decline, dementia, and depressive symptoms.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates the concept of diminishing returns. Because, check this out, increasing from 7,000 steps up to the holy grail of 10,000 steps, that only adds about 1% more mortality benefit. Yeah, you heard that right. The difference between a 47% reduction and a 48% reduction is statistically tiny. Don't get me wrong, more steps are always good and they'll for sure burn more calories. But if you're focused strictly on disease prevention and longevity, the heavy lifting is already completely done by the time you hit 7,000 or 8,000 steps.
Let's move to part 3. Your age sets your goal, because one size absolutely does not fit all.
So, one of the most vital findings from this Oxford research is that your optimal step goal is actually entirely dependent on your age. Think about it. The idea that a 25-year-old and a 75-year-old should have the exact same daily movement target never really made much biological sense, and the data finally backs this up beautifully. When we contrast the numbers, older adults, meaning those aged 60 and above, actually see their health benefits level off much earlier.
That means they do not need to aim for those daunting 10,000 steps. For older adults, the optimal range is right between 6,000 and 8,000 steps a day. Now, for younger adults under 60, the curve levels off a bit later, which makes 8,000 to 10,000 steps the ideal target for maximum longevity benefits.
Part 4. Does walking faster matter? Basically, volume versus intensity. Now, a natural follow-up question you might have is, okay, but do I need to walk faster? Do I need to get my heart rate up? Or is it purely about just the sheer volume of steps? Because we're constantly hearing about brisk walking and moderate to vigorous physical activity, right? So if you casually stroll for your steps versus speed walking them, are you getting the same health protection? Well, the scientific consensus anchors firmly on this point. Once researchers account for your total daily steps, the added benefits of walking faster mostly just disappear. Researchers looked at multiple metrics like steps per minute or peak walking pace over 30 minutes. But mathematically, when they adjusted the models to factor in just the total volume of steps taken throughout the whole day, the intensity didn't move the needle much further for mortality.
So here's the crucial takeaway. You don't necessarily have to speed walk, you don't have to break a heavy sweat, and you definitely don't need to run a marathon. You really just need to accumulate those steps throughout your day. Now sure, walking up hills or keeping a brisk pace can absolutely improve your specific muscular strength and your aerobic fitness. But for general longevity and chronic disease prevention, volume is king. Every single step counts, no matter how fast you take it.
Which brings us to our final section, Part 5, making every step count with some actionable strategies. Because we know the steepest health benefits happen super early on in that curve. Every single step you take is literally bringing you closer to massive health improvements. You don't have to carve out a full hour to painfully march on a treadmill. Integrating movement seamlessly into the life you already live is hands down the most sustainable way to push yourself up that dose-response curve. So, here are a few simple, highly effective ways to just sneak more steps into your day. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Park at the far end of the parking lot when you go to the grocery store. Honestly, it saves you from door dings anyway, and it protects your heart. Pace around your house or your office while you're taking phone calls. Or hey, if you take the bus or subway, get off just one stop earlier and walk the rest of the way. These little micro movements, they add up incredibly fast.
Ultimately, this data is incredibly empowering. You do not have to hit 10,000 steps to drastically improve your health. Even a jump from 2,000 to 3,000 or 4,000 steps is actively shielding your heart and your brain. The pressure is officially off, but the science is crystal clear. So, knowing what you know now, what small change will you make today?